Hello everybody and welcome to Marvelous Craft Designs. Today I'm going to be showing you some spring and Easter DIYs using Dollar Tree textiles. For DIY number 1, I have these back quarters or fabric rolls from Dollar Tree and some eggs that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. It's the parchment eggs, and we are going to go ahead and cut our fabric into strips. First, I'm just removing the sticky labels that come on the fabric from Dollar Tree. But Dollar Tree has had really pretty colors for their fabrics and designs lately. This video will feature a lot of blue tones and creams and whites. So I cut my fabrics into strips. They're about 2-inch wide strips. I wish I would have cut them a little smaller, but then I grabbed some fabric Mod Podge, and we're just going to start using the Mod Podge to apply the strips to the eggs. We're going to make some fabric colored eggs for Easter. And as you can see, I'm just applying the Mod Podge as I go. I did water it down at first, but then I decided to use the full strength of the Mod Podge because the fabric was thick and it just made the fabric stick to the eggs better. And so I'm just showing you that process here. I found it best to, even though I cut them into strips first, I had to make my strips smaller and try to line up the pieces or the pattern, I should say, so that they would look cohesive and not look like it was sewed a patchwork, I guess. But I probably, if I had to do it all over again, which I did with the second egg, I kind of made the pieces smaller. But I'm not going to show you the whole process again, but here is how my eggs turned out. And I just displayed them in one of those little baskets that Dollar Tree had for sale. And on to DIY number 2. For this DIY, I had already pre-painted one of those little shelves that they sell at the Dollar Tree, and I found these colors from Hobby Lobby. It was a pastel color, and then I drew the shape of a triangle with my little square there that you can also purchase from the Dollar Tree. And for this DIY, I'm using that lace ribbon that they sell at the Dollar Tree. I absolutely love this ribbon. I think it makes everything look so high end. And I'm just gluing the lace ribbon onto the board, and I went in a back and forth motion, and we made a little carrot here. And then I have this greenery that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. I just cut pieces of that and made a stem for my carrot. And I had ribbon on here, and I wanted to extend the ribbon. And here's my little carrot. I think it turned out so cute. For DIY number 3, we're actually going to be using one of those placemats that I don't think it's a placemat, it's supposed to be a rug, a bathroom rug that you can get from Dollar Tree. And I cut out I traced out a pattern for a bunny off of my tablet. I just pulled up an image on Google and I traced it. And then I cut it out on just a piece of regular printer paper. And then I took some straight pins and I laid it down on my fabric. I actually cut the fabric in half. So if you wanted to make 2 of these, you can actually make 2 with this particular placemat, or it's a rug from Dollar Tree. And so I cut out the pattern of the bunny, and I folded it in half, so I would only have to make 1 cut. So I got 2 sides there. And then I'm just kind of trimming and making sure that I feel like it looks like the shape of a bunny. Then I'm going to hot glue the 2 pieces together, and I'm actually using some fabric hot glue by Shore Bonder. I absolutely love this stuff. I cannot sew, so this is what I use when I'm making fabric crafts. I just use that to adhere my pieces together. Then I'm going to use some polyfill and just stuff our little Easter bunny here. Everyone's been making bunnies for Easter, as I know, and I kind of was inspired by some that I saw on Pinterest, and these little bunnies had pockets, and I wanted to keep it a neutral color, and I felt like that little rug from the Dollar Tree, see, I flipped it inside out, and I used the side that had the guess they're little shaggy fibers on it, but I had an extra piece there, so I used that to cut a heart shape and I'm going to use it as a little pocket for our rabbit. I didn't give him a puffy tail because I felt like the pocket was the cute extra little touch, but I wanted to embellish the pocket, so I came back in with some of that same fabric that we used from the eggs, and I'm just going to use that to outline the pocket there to give it more of a heart shape and to bring some color to this this piece. I wanted to keep it pretty neutral, but I've been loving this blue color of the fabrics, and I just felt like it gave it a little pop. But you can use any color fabric that you like. And so I'm just continuing to outline and make sure I have the shape of a heart there. And then I took some burlap ribbon that I had. I believe I purchased this ribbon from Michael's, but they do sell some at the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to kind of just outline the rabbit a little bit more. And also because the little shaggy pieces on the rug kept falling off, and this just helped to give it a little bit more stability. And because I can't sew, I felt like this kind of worked as stitching to help to hold the rabbit together. So I just used that to outline it, and it gave it more color too as well. So then I had an additional piece of fabric that I used from the eggs, and I wanted to give him a little bow tie, a little bow there. And I just love the way my little rabbit turned out. In his little pocket, I took some little flowers there, and I put them in this pocket, and you can put a carrot or anything else that you want to embellish it. Now on to DIY number 4. I had some birdhouses in my stash. One's from the Dollar Tree. I believe this one's from the Dollar Tree, and then I have one from Michael's. I'm just going to actually stain the birdhouse here with my decor art stain in the color, I think that's mahogany. I'll have to look at the color again, I'm not really sure. But we did the crackle technique, so you've seen me do this many times on my channel before, and I just put on the school glue and painted over it while it was still wet with white acrylic paint. And now what I'm doing, and to bring in the fabric aspect, is I'm taking some of that same tick and stripe fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use that to cover the roof. So I'm again using the fabric Mod Podge, and I am covering the entire roof of this particular house. And then I'm going to sand off any of the edges there. Some people say you can't sand fabric. I always find success with it though. So then for the second birdhouse, I'm actually going to cover the sides of the house and as well as the roof with fabric this time. So I do still have that same blue fabric with I think it's such a pretty diamond pattern on the fabric, and I like blue for spring. I mean, some people may not like blue for spring, but I tend to like it, especially these that's more like a royal blue color. I just think it's very colorful, and without being too overly pastel. I do like some pastel colors for spring, but I'm more of a neutral tone kind of girl, so the blue is the pop of color that I need. So anyway, as I continue to move that, and I'm going to cover the roof with the fabric. Then I have some of these bird cutouts that I have from the Dollar Tree. It's the chipboard, and I took some gold paint and I just kind of dry brushed over top of it. I don't feel like the camera does it justice, but you can see it's now has that gold color. And I'm just going to use some gel super glue to attach that to my birdhouse. And I feel like the gel super glue works really well for little projects that have little holes and indents, so you can attach it without having hot glue everywhere. Then for the second one, I have a little hummingbird that I'm going to use. I also dry brush that with the gold paint as well. And then we're just going to continue to embellish our houses. I have these little tiny flowers that I got, I believe, from Michael's. And I was going to apply the stems, but I found it best to just take the blooms off, or the flower portion. And so I just cut off the stems and just arranging them in groupings on the front of the house here. And to add a little bit more pop of color, I have these little yellow flowers that I purchased from Michael's, I believe. I love to buy my flowers from my florals from Michael's. I think they have some of the nicest florals. And if you catch them on sale, you actually can get them a lot cheaper than Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to do the same thing and embellish the other house that I made as well. The one with the white rooftop, or the ticking stripe with rooftop is not a white for that fabric. And I had some leaves left over from that pick, and I just kind of deconstructed that pick and just started to embellish the house with it. I still felt like it needed more, so I came back in with that same lace ribbon that I had from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do now is just simply, it was too wide to fit or align the roof, so I simply just cut off the edge with more of the holes in it, and then I glued I guess I want to say it's it doesn't have as many holes on that side, so I glued that side down onto the roof of the house just to try to create more interest with this piece. And I just love the way that lace looks on everything, and if I could put it on everything, I probably would. But I even held on to the little scraps of the pieces that I cut off, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna put this on the top of the roof line and make, I guess we call it shingling, I guess that's what that's called on the roof of a house. I don't really know, but I just thought that it looked super cute, so I decided to make good use of my scraps, and we are going to add this to the roof of our house as well. We're going to outline the entire thing here. Once again, I'm using the gel super glue that just works wonders for little projects like this, and you don't have hot glue dripping everywhere. So I did this for both houses, and this is how they turned out. I think they're super cute, especially for a tier tray, and it just screams spring to me. And I just love, this is the one with the diamond shaped blue fabric, and just look at the detail that lace ribbon gives to the little houses. I just think they are super cute, and you can use them in little vignettes throughout your home or on a tier tray, or just little areas you want to add a little touch of spring. Now on to DIY number 5. For this DIY, we are back to using more of those fabric rolls from the Dollar Tree. Look at this floral pattern. I just thought that this was absolutely gorgeous, and I just loved it. And so I cut out the shape of a tulip. This is like bringing me back to elementary school days when we used to draw a pattern. So I just kind of sketched out a tulip on a piece of paper, and I cut it out, and I'm going to use this as my pattern. So I cut that out on each of my fabrics here. So I have my floral pattern, I have some darker blue, navy blue patterns, and like a ticking stripe pattern here. And so we're going to do the same thing we did with the rabbit. So I used the fabric hot glue to glue those ends together, and then I stuffed it with polyfill until I got down to the end. And then I have these little sticks that I got they came from a pack from Walmart, and I cut them down. I'm going to use these as the stems to our flowers. I have been kind of obsessed with making everything into like a pillow puffy likeness, and I thought these flowers came out really cute, our little tulips here. And for the stem, I'm going to use some jute twine. Actually, I didn't have like any green twine or anything like that, so I thought it looked really cute with the jute. And then I'm going to come in with those same little leaves from that other pick, and I'm just going to use those as the leaves for our tulips here. Then I had this little crate from Dollar Tree that's been in my stash. It was a little roughed up, so I did sand it down, and then we're just going to paint it with some white chalk paint. And I paint the entire thing and dry that up. And I have some floral foam from the Dollar Tree. We're just going to cut off some pieces and hot glue that into our tray here. And then we add our tulips. And for this portion, once I get them set in the way that I like them, I just kind of arrange them. and I needed to cover up that floral foam. So I didn't have my Spanish moss. I could not find it. So I made good use of the scraps that I had from the rug that we used. It kind of reminds me of Spanish moss. So that was just a happy little win there that we got. And we got to use up some more of that fabric that we had. So if you don't have Spanish moss, this makes good Spanish moss. I did distress that at the end, and look how cute this turned out. I love this little crate with the little tulips in it, and you can make as many as you want. You can make the crates as big as you want. You can add wording to your crate. But I just love how this DIY turned out. Now on to DIY number 6. I have one of those bunny wreath forms that everybody has from the Dollar Tree. But instead of covering mine with nautical rope, I had this ribbon, some burlap ribbon from Michael's that I got on clearance from like Christmas time. So I have tons of it. So I was like, I need to use this ribbon. So I'm just going to take this and we're going to cover the entire wreath form. And as you can see, I'm kind of covering it, using it and coming through at an angle. So it creates this nice little pattern as you go around the wreath form. So I use that to cover the entire thing. And then when I get to the top, I'm going to flip it over and hot glue the rest of it down to the wreath form. And then I'm going to cut it off here after I get the glue off my fingers. I have glue everywhere. And then just kind of fold this piece over to kind of hide it. So you're not seeing that. Actually, I cut it first and then we're going to fold it over to hide it. And then I needed to cover the ears of the wreath form, and we're going to come in with the jute again. For this part, if you want it to look a little thicker, you can use the nautical rope as well. Instead of using twine, it probably would have went a little faster if I would have used nautical rope. But I wanted to have the thinner look to the rabbit's ears. And so I hot glued a piece on at first. And to make it go a little faster, I unraveled a bunch of the jute rope, and then you're going to see me just kind of wrap it. And I'm just going to wrap around and kind of push down with my fingers to hold it in place so I could get it around the ears without having to put as much hot glue on it. Once again, I'd just like to say thank you so much for clicking on my video. Here at Marvelous Clash Designs, I like to try to bring you high-end decor pieces using mostly Dollar Tree and other affordable items. So if this is the type of thing that you're looking for, I'd like to invite you to click that like button and hit subscribe. Also click the notification bell so YouTube will alert you every time that I post a video. Moving on to the second portion of this DIY, we are going to make some embellishments for our wreath form here. So again, I'm going back to that same ticking stripe fabric that we've been using throughout the video, and we're going to make some little rosettes. I have been obsessed with making these floral rosettes lately. I recently saw a video on Facebook. I think her name is DIY Dreaming. And she was showing how to make these floral rosettes, and I just think they are so cute in a great way to use the fabric here. But as you can see, what I did is I cut about a 2-inch square from the fabric, and then I took the rest and I tied it into a knot. And then I'm going to just wrap that around my finger and just continue to rotate it into a circle. Now, when she did her rosettes, she glued it onto the fabric first and then did the rotation. I just found it a little faster to do it just in my hand and then to glue it onto the extra piece of fabric that I cut as well. The fabric that you're going to glue it onto, of course, creates the base and holds your flower together. But I feel like you can do it either way. As a matter of fact, I show you how to do it the way that I saw it done as well, with a different type of fabric. in just a moment, but it just creates the cutest little rosette here. And so I'm just gonna take what I've wrapped in my hand and just glue it onto the fabric. And the wonderful thing about this is if you want it, you can make them as small as you want to, you can make them as large as you want to. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add some additional fabric to this particular rosette because I just wanted to make it a little bit longer. So again, I'm just wrapping it around my finger, and then I hot glue it down. And this time as I go around, you'll see that I am twisting it around my finger and then laying it down onto the fabric, and just continue to wrap around that way, and just adding little bits of hot glue as we go. Then once you have your desired size of your floral, you can just go in with hot glue and tack down places where it may not be completely secured to the bottom piece of your fabric there. And then as a final touch, I just grabbed a little blue button to embellish it out of my stash of buttons from the Dollar Tree. So now I am using it's more like a drop cloth fabric, but this is still from the Dollar Tree, just a plain cream color. And this is the way that DIY Dreaming was showing everyone how to make the flower. She glued the fabric down to the larger piece of fabric down to the smaller square first, and then she just continued to wrap around. And either way is fine. I felt it was faster for me to just hold it in my hand and do the wrapping. But either way is sufficient, and it works. And it creates the cutest, absolute cutest little rosette florals that you can use to embellish anything, not just wreaths, but other decor pieces that you may be making that need a little extra touch. And again, I'm going to come in with my buttons and apply there. But you don't have to use just buttons. You can use those little pearls from Dollar Tree. If you have some more bling, you can add those to anything you can use to embellish the center of the rosettes. Now I have some lamb's ear that I think I got these from Michael's or maybe in Walmart, that I just had them in my stash. I just pulled the leaves off, and we're just going to use those to help to embellish our wreath. And now I'm just going to kind of lay out the way I like for my little rosettes to appear. And once I get my placement, I'm just going to hot glue them right on. So I made 5 for this project. I did make one extra smaller blue one, but I decided not to use that because I just wanted to keep it at an odd number, because I felt like that looked more pleasing to the eye. I did have that little gap there in between the ears where I didn't put a piece of one of the florals, so I'm going to come back in with just another lamb's ear and just tuck that in there just to hide that gap. And then to finish off our wreath, we need to add a hanger. So I'm just going to use another piece of the ribbon, and I just folded it over, did an awareness ribbon, and hot glued it to the back. And this piece was so simple to make, but I think this was my absolute favorite. The only thing is I wish I would have maybe made a bottom portion or a bunny body. The rest of it, I love the way the rosettes look on there, but I feel like my door needed maybe a little bit larger wreath, or if I would have gotten a larger wreath form, maybe. But I just decided to use the Dollar Tree wreath form. But I think this still looks so cute. And you don't have to hang it on the door. You can hang it on the wall. You can use it to embellish anywhere around your home. And on to DIY number 7. This one is a pretty simple DIY, but I just had to use the rest of this gorgeous floral fabric from Dollar Tree. So I had a frame that I had from Dollar Tree. It was a little cheap frame, so I just kind of took the glass out. We're not going to use that for the project. We're going to use the backing, and we're going to use this floral fabric to cover the backing. So I just cut the fabric down. And we're just, nothing special, just gonna hot glue it onto the backing. You can't get any simpler than that. I didn't even cut it down all the way. I just simply just hot glued it onto the back because I was like, oh, nobody's gonna see the back, because where I'm going to display this in my house, the back will be covered. But by all means, if you would like to, if it bothers you, you can make sure the corners are perfectly folded and everything. So then, to make the frame not look so cheap, I took some rub and buff and I just kind of went around the frame, just to dull down some of the gold, the cheapness or the plasticky look of the gold, I should say, from the Dollar Tree frame. Then I have one of these little bunnies I got this from Hobby Lobby, I believe. And I'm going to take off the galvanized portion, and we're just going to use the wooden bunny. And it was screwed on there, and then it was stapled on there. So I brought up my little staple too, which I love this thing. It comes in handy to get things staples out. And so I'm just kind of arranging and see, where do I want to put my bunny. Then I cut out a decal with my Cricut, and we are going to use the reverse weeding technique. So all that means is that you're just going to remove the portion or the words that you actually would typically use for the decal. And I'm going to actually make a stencil. I usually like to make stencils with my Cricut versus just using the vinyl all the time, because I just feel like, you don't always have the color that you need. And if you just make a stencil, then you can use paint to use whatever color that you want to. So I cut out the phrase. It said "Every bunny welcome" at first, but then I was like, should I say that that way? So then I decided to make it "Welcome everybody." I thought that was a cuter way to say it. So I just took some metallic gold paint to kind of play off that frame a little bit. I felt like it kind of popped on the blue background of the bunny. And so I put the "Every bunny" down first, and then I put the "Welcome" down. Now, let me just tell you, a game changer here is that I used my brayer to help to apply this vinyl. And because I usually have problems when I just use my scraper tool, it won't stick down. And that brayer worked magic. I don't know if it was just because it was on wood or what, but I may be using my brayer from now on to apply vinyl to everything. But anyway, and so I just took a little bit of that gold paint and also decided to distress the edges of the bunny there, just to make it pop a little bit. But I just love that fabric, and the blue tones of the bunny bring out the blue florals that are in the fabric as well. So we just hot glued that to the center of our frame, and this was just such a simple project. I had one of those little rosettes left over, so I decided to use that as the tail. And I just think this turned out so cute, and I display it in my little tobacco basket that I have on my shelf in my living room. And well, that's all the projects I have for you today. Thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.